There are some moments in life that don't feel like moments at all. They feel like thunder. They feel like something in the air cracks and the world itself tilts a few inches to a side you never expected. It was just after 3:10 p.m. on a bright Tuesday afternoon, the kind where sunlight hits the glass of bus windows so hard it almost hurts to look outside. School traffic, mall crowds, cars honking, people busy, everybody walking with purpose. But in the middle of all that noise, an exhausted young mother named Maureen stood at the bus station bench with a half-torn backpack and a trembling 8-year-old son holding her hand. She had not slept more than an hour in 2 nights. She had no money in her pockets anymore, no keys to any home. And when she finally swallowed her pride and whispered it, her voice barely existed. We have nowhere to go. Viewers watching, before we continue, if you believe kindness still exists, if you believe strangers can be angels, if you believe second chances sometimes come from people you don't even know, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Touch of Kindness Stories. Because these stories aren't fiction, they're reminders of what humanity is still capable of. The next morning daylight felt different. They were safe. She made tea using the electric kettle in the guest portion. She gave Arvin a piece of toast with butter Anwar had placed into the fridge for them without telling. She combed her hair properly for the first time in days. She even breathed deeper. After Arvin fell asleep again, she sat against the wall with the curtain half open, sunlight warming her face. She began thinking about rebuilding. She remembered her old skills, writing content, editing captions, basic marketing tasks. She had nothing but an old cracked Android phone. Yet still, she tried. She made an online profile and began sending requests to small business pages she found. She offered to create captions for their posts for a small fee. One business accepted, a woman who sold handmade jewelry. She offered Maureen 1,000 rupees for a week of caption writing, the first bit of income in days. She quietly placed that money inside a jar she labeled Future. She didn't want to depend on anyone. She wanted to stand again. Days passed. Arvin returned to smiling like a child again, because there was safety, there was regular food, there was a routine. He even made drawings with crayons that Anwar bought for him from a supermarket run. He drew airplanes and suns. And sometimes, he drew a house with 3 people inside. His mother, himself, and uncle who saved us, as he called him. One afternoon, while Arvin ran through the small yard with a ball, Anwar approached her. He had something in his hand, a job application form printed from the internet. A position at a local office, marketing assistant. But the part that stunned her was this: he had already spoken to them, recommended her, and they were expecting her to come for an interview. She almost broke down again, but this time it was gratitude too large to hold in. During the interview, she was nervous, but she answered confidently. She got the job. She began working. Her income rose. Bit by bit, she began saving more. Sometimes she'd look at Arvin playing among the plants in the small yard and think either life is cruel enough to break you or beautiful enough to rebuild you. And sometimes both happen in the same month. 6 months later, she came home with real news. She had found a rental apartment, small, affordable, near her workplace. She could stand now. She could move. Almost trembling, she told Anwar she would be moving because she didn't want to take advantage. She wanted to return his space. He smiled, full of fatherly pride. But he said something gently. You can move, but you cannot disappear. That day, she realized something deeper. People don't always enter your life to love you romantically. Some enter to rewire your belief in mankind. Some enter to rewrite your definition of what a stranger can truly be. The day she and Arvin shifted to their new apartment, she placed the future jar on a shelf. And she used the money, not to buy anything new for herself, but to buy a small ceramic plaque as a gift for Anwar that read, "Just when the world said stay silent, you heard us." She visited him once a week after that. Arvin called him Nunji, now, like a grandfather. They celebrated birthdays together. They shared iftar in Ramadan together. They laughed together, because they were family now, not by blood, but by the decision to not abandon a soul when they were drowning. And sometimes, that's more powerful than blood. If this story touched your soul, if you believe even one act of kindness can make the entire world tilt in a better direction, please like this video, share it, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. You have no idea how far a simple act of engagement can push these stories to reach someone who needs to hear them. Touch of Kindness Stories lives because of hearts like yours. Thank you for being here. Before we end, special request, comment just one sentence. I believe kindness still exists. Maureen wasn't always this broken. She wasn't always this scared. She wasn't always this quiet. 3 years ago, she was working in a marketing office in Karachi, earning enough to live decent, enough to rent a small apartment with a kitchen whose paint peeled off in flakes, but at least it was safe. Her little boy, Arvin, loved building cardboard airplanes on the floor while she cooked dinner. Her life wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. Until one decision, one wrong partner, one emotionally manipulative relationship destroyed that slow-built stability. The man she had trusted, a charismatic shop owner named Zion, convinced her he would support her dreams. He begged her to leave her job, telling her she didn't need to exhaust herself in offices anymore. She listened. She believed. But slowly the support changed into control. The compliments turned into complaints. The smiles turned into silent treatments, and then into shouts and insults so sharp that Arvin learned to plug his ears with tissue paper at night while pretending he couldn't hear the arguments. Eventually, even food became a problem. He'd say she was eating too much. He'd say she was ungrateful. Then he'd leave for nights without telling where he was going. And one day, with zero warning, he came home cold as metal and simply said he didn't want them there anymore, that he kicked them out. Just like that in broad daylight. Her hands were shaking so badly that morning she couldn't even tie Arvin's shoelaces properly. She packed only what she could fit in one bag, and for 2 nights she and her son slept on an empty construction lot behind a closed plaza, hidden behind broken metal fencing so police wouldn't pick them up and take her child somewhere she had no control over. On the third day, she gathered strength to approach the bus station area because she thought maybe she'd find someone who could help. Maybe she'd spot an old colleague. Maybe she'd find a charity van. She kept walking between the crowd, trying to look like she still belonged to the world of normal people. Trying to pretend she wasn't collapsing inside. It was there she met him. A stranger. A tall, older gentleman with silver hair, wearing simple linen clothes and carrying some grocery bags from the market. His name was Anwar. She didn't know that yet. He noticed the way her breathing kept stopping, as if fear was choking her throat. He saw the way she squeezed Arvin's hand every few seconds, as if to convince herself she still had one thing left in her life she loved. He saw the embarrassment in her posture, the way she tried to hide the fact that her sneakers were ripped at the toe. He approached gently, respectfully, not invading their space. He asked if she was okay. She tried to force a smile, but she couldn't hold it. The truth fell out like broken glass, and she whispered those fragile words. We have nowhere to go." He blinked, and the world around them, the car horns, the bus engines, the street vendors shouting, suddenly felt like it slowed. As if time itself paused to listen to this confession, he set down his grocery bag slowly, and his reply, 6 words, changed the entire direction of their existence. "You're not going to sleep outside." He didn't pity her. He didn't make her feel small. He didn't lecture her. He didn't ask who did this to her. He didn't say, "Calm down," as if that would fix anything. He just acted. He guided them, carefully, toward his parked white Corolla. He drove them to a small but decent 2-room guest portion built on the side of his house. It normally was used for relatives visiting from out of town, but nobody had been staying there for months. He offered the keys. He paid for fresh sheets from a new pack, told her to wash and keep old ones as backup. He bought Arvin a plate of biryani from the corner food outlet, because he saw the way Arvin kept rubbing his stomach like he was trying not to show how hungry he was. And he said one rule only: stay until you can stand again. No pressure. That night, Maureen cried silently into the pillow, not out of sadness or fear, but out of something she thought had died inside her long ago.